Welcome to our July 1st zoning hearing. We'll get started. We'd like to call Father Tyler Holly up for our invocation.
My name is Father Tyler. I bring you greetings from Christ the King Anglican Church. I hope you know that in the Anglican Church we have a deep affinity for those civil servants who work in politics and in government, and we pray for you every week during our liturgy. I also wanted to share with you three prayers from our prayer book, three short prayers. Here's the first, a prayer for our country. Almighty God, who hast given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogancy, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties, and fashion into one united people the multitudes brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endue with the spirit of wisdom those to whom in thy name we entrust the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to thy law we may show forth thy praise among the nations of the earth. In the time of prosperity fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble suffer not our trust in thee to fail. All which we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. A prayer for justice. Almighty God, who has created man in thine own image, grant us grace to fearlessly contend against evil and to make no peace with oppression, and that we may reverently use our freedom. Help us to employ it in the maintenance of justice amongst men and nations, to the glory of thy holy name, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. A prayer for every person in their work. Almighty God, our heavenly Father, who declarest thy glory and showest forth thy handiwork in the heavens and in the earth, deliver us, we beseech thee, in our several callings from the service of mammon, that we may do the work which thou hast given us to do in truth, in beauty, and in righteousness, with singleness of heart as thy servants, and to the benefit of our fellow man, for the sake of him who came among us as one who serveth, thy Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father. At this time, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to call our July 1st meeting to order. I'll hand it over to Mr. Peterson to get us kicked off. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Chairman. And before we begin, I just want to congratulate our new slate of officers on the Planning Commission for this year. Our new chairwoman is Nadia Fawcett, who was appointed by Chair Cupid. And our second newest member is Deidre Massey, appointed by Commissioner Monique Sheffield. So welcome to the board. Okay, today's hearing will be conducted with the following process and procedure. Each case will be called in numerical order. We would ask that the applicant please stand and raise their hand to show that they're in attendance. After that, we're going to call it to see if there's anyone here opposed to that specific case. We would also ask that the opposition please stand and raise their hand so they can be counted for the official record. Then after recognizing both parties will be asked to come forward to be sworn in. The applicant will testify first, and then the opposition, if any, will testify second. It's important to note that each side gets 10 minutes to state their case of concerns. There's not a rebuttal process, and there's not a process to reserve your time. So please convey all your information to the board within your 10-minute time period. Additionally, if there's more than one person here who wishes to speak on a case, you may want to coordinate with each other about what you're going to talk about, because each side only gets 10 minutes, and you don't want to cover the same information over and over. After that, the board will start to discuss the case at hand. From the discussion, they may ask one or more speakers to come back to the front for additional comments or questions. At that point, the board will make a decision to either approve, deny, hold, or continue the case at hand. There is one case on today's agenda which has been withdrawn without prejudice, and this case will not be heard today. That's LUP 29 of 2025, Hadelis Perch. This case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. There are a number of cases on today's printed agenda which have been either held or continued, and these cases will not be heard either. First case is rezoning case Z2 of 2024, Florinor Development Group LLC. This case was continued by staff until the August 5th, 2025 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So Z2 of 2024 will not be heard today. Rezoning case Z9 of 2025, Whataburger Restaurants LLC. This case was continued by staff until the August 5th, 2025 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So Z9 of 2025 will not be heard today. And finally, SLEP2 of 2025, Freebird Communications LLC. This case was continued by the staff until the August 5th, 2025 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So SLEP2 of 2025 will not be heard today. Madam Chair and Board, I did get word that there are two other cases on today's agenda which need to be continued. First one is LUP 19 of 2025, INL Salas. This case needs to be continued one more month. Madam Chair and Board, we're still working on it. So we'd ask the board to take a vote and continue that case.
All right, it is in District 2, so I will turn it over to Commissioner Anderson to make a motion.
Thank you, Chairwoman Set. I move to continue LUP 19 for 1 month, or make a motion to continue it for 1 month.
Second.
Okay, we have a second for Commissioner Boulogne, and any discussion? Okay, let's call the question. And we have a vote for 5-0 to continue LUP 19, 2025.
Thank you. Second case is in District 4. It's LEP 26 of 2025, Ronaldo Valdez. The applicant did call us last night and said that they couldn't make it to the hearing today. So the staff would ask the board to continue this case until your August hearing date.
All right, that is in District 4, so Commissioner Massey.
I make a motion to continue LUP 24 to our July meeting.
August.
I'm sorry, August meeting.
And that is LUP 24 or 26?
LUP 26.
Second?
Okay, we have a second for Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? All right, let's call the question. All right, and it passes 5-0 to continue LUP 26 to August hearing.
Okay. And before we begin the hearing, I want to ask all the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off on your phones. When the phone's ringing, it does interfere with the presentations. And I want to remind applicants, opposition, or any interested party that information is due to this board the Wednesday prior to this hearing. Any information submitted after the Wednesday due date may or may not be considered by the board at their discretion. And with that, Madam Chair and Board, I'm ready to start the consent agenda. Cobb County Planning Commission zoning hearing consent agenda for July 1st, 2025. First case on consent is LEP 28, Burnt Hickory Church of Christ Incorporated, request a temporary land use permit renewal to allow a daycare preschool facility in land lot 291 of the 20th District. The property is located on the north side of Burnt Hickory Road, west of New Salem Road. The Planning Commission recommends approval for 24 months, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, site plan received by the zoning division on May 1st, 2025, with the district commissioner for minor modifications. And number 2, daycare-related banner sign to be no larger than 3 feet by 5 feet. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to LEP 28? Let the record show there's no one opposed. And that completes the consent agenda, Madam Chair and Board.
All right, thank you so much. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
Second?
Second?
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? Let's call the question. All right, and vote passes 5-0 to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving into the later part of the agenda. First case we're going to hear today is rezoning case Z14 of 2025. Mike Heck requests a rezoning from GC and NS to NRC for a neighborhood retail and special contractor's office in land lot T96 of the 20th District. The property is located on the northeast side of D West Road, northwest of Burnt Hickory Road, and at the terminus of Burnt Hickory Way. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to rezoning case Z14? Let the record show there's no one opposed.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Parks Huff with Sam's Larkin and Huff, and I represent the applicant and the property owner in relation to this rezoning application before you this morning. Mr. Peterson smiled a little bit, and it's because he probably didn't think that we would have a zoning case on Due West Road in a critical area with a lot of traffic that didn't have opposition. And I'm going to go through the case and tell you what we've done and why we're here without opposition, because it is part of the West Cobb community, part of the Due West community, and most people who live in that area drive by this frequently and are very familiar with it. This is this subject property highlighted in light blue. It is on Due West Road. What most people would recognize is the Farmer John's convenience store, or Farmer John's produce stand that is on the subject property at the present time. What most people don't realize is that the Cantrell family has been there for generations, and before it was a fruit stand, it was the West Cobb convenience store. It had 2 pumps out front, and it was where everybody went, and as they used to say, they would trade with the Cantrells. My grandparents, everybody knew the Cantrell family. So the Cantrells are here, and they would like to sell their property for a use that's consistent with what their families put this property for many years, which is commercial use, providing services to the surrounding community. So that's the subject property. Some of the things that I'd like to, the land use plan is all neighborhood activity center. Again, recognizing the fact you've got a lot of signalized intersections, you're on a major thoroughfare with a lot of activity, that this is an area designated for neighborhood uses. The zoning on the property, this is real important for the Planning Commission to understand. The property is split zone with GC on the front and NS on the back. And what that means is neither one of those categories are recognized in this land use plan, neighborhood activity center. So the property in all actuality is unzoned. So you have to zone it to a conforming category, something that you can actually use, because you go and try to pull permits for a GC and NS, the county's going to say it's not recognized as a valid zoning category, so it has to be rezoned. So that's the reality for this property. It needs to be rezoned to a conforming category. I've noted some of the things in there that community knows all the time, and that is there's a lot of commercial uses. Directly across the street is a convenience store, the Minute Saver. And then you got Unwind, Merida Pizza Company. You have other retail uses all along this section of roadway. So what we're proposing to do is something that's very consistent, what you would expect to see along here. I want to go through a little bit of the changes, and one of the reasons why I don't think we have opposition here. This is the original site plan we had, which is very consistent with what you'd expect, which is a larger retail building. And then in the back is an office for my client. Mr. Heck has a business. He grew up in the area, went to Due West Elementary, went to North Cobb High School, local, lives just down Ackworth Due West Road. He wanted to be able to have his business office closer to his house. So this is, the back is designed for his office. He needed, it's almost 3 acres, so he needed to be able to use the remaining part of that 3 acres, which is a significant property. So he had a commercial retail strip, similar to what you've got along there elsewhere. But when we dug down into the property and what other options we looked at, got some feedback from the community, and there's a real desire to keep the Farmer John's, which is the original Cantrell's convenience store location, open as a produce stand. So what that does is keeps that iconic location that where people buy their Christmas trees and their pumpkins and fresh fruits and vegetables. That would remain as is, like it's in its current location. Obviously, around it would be redesigned with current standards on access, driveways. Currently, there's 2 driveways entering the property. We would reduce it to 1, which helps with traffic. But the other thing is that reduces the square footage of the adjacent retail building. So now it's a 5,000 square foot building. So by breaking it up into 2 different things, we actually keep it as a neighborhood character and a neighborhood feel. And we share this plan with, we had a great turnout at a local library and shared it with community. And that's the reason why I think that they aren't here. In fact, we do have people here that they're in support. So that is the site plan. One of the things that is always a concern in this area is traffic. This is just represent example of types of architecture. But this is the updated DOT traffic study or traffic report, and you can see under the previously filed proposal, 523 trips per day, but with it broken down into smaller units, fruit stand, smaller strips, shopping center. Now you have 359 square feet. 359 traffic counts. So again, by breaking it up, keeping it more neighborhood scale, we create that opportunity for actually less traffic and uses that are designed for the neighborhood. The proposed tenant for that 5,000 square foot building, 4,000 square foot there's a letter of intent from a butcher that wants to put in a butcher shop that would serve high-end meats, prepared foods, and again, knowing the traffic pattern in the area, it is perfectly designed for everybody heading west after work to swing in, pick up a prepared food, take it home, stick it in the oven, and now you've got a quality meal for dinner. So that's the proposed tenant, and again, gives you an idea of the types of uses that would go in to this shopping center. So, and I say shopping center, I want to make clear, it's retail, office. These buildings are often, you'll have, somebody in there with an eyeglass clinic or something like that. Smaller office type uses, but also some retail uses like the butcher shop that we proposed. Your professional staff has reviewed it and has recommended approval of the application subject to 12 different conditions. We're good with all those 12 conditions. They capture the essence of the case very well. We have also submitted a stipulation letter dated June 24th that highlights some of the conditions that we would agree to. One of the most important things was to limit certain uses, and we have on page, item number 11, no automotive uses, no tire changing, no lube shop, no auto repair, none whatsoever, no car wash, no tattoo parlor, vape shops, adult bookstore, pawn shop, typical things. I do want to add to that list, no convenience stores. I forgot to add that specifically, and I will revise and update the letter to specifically say that we would have no convenience store, no fuel sales, and also no fast food restaurants with drive-through. So no drive-through, period. So I'd like to add that to it, and just I will update the letter to reflect that. We also will agree to dark sky compliant lighting, LED lighting that's shielded away from the neighborhood, and a 20-foot landscape buffer between us and the residential behind us. But when you look at the totality of what you have in the area, this is an opportunity to allow the Cantrell family to sell their property for use that they, quite frankly, their family has provided services to the community for many years, a use that's consistent with the area, consistent with your land use plan, and your staff recommends approval. So we're here asking you that you follow your staff recommendation, recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners, and add my letter of agreeable stipulations dated June 24th. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, and we don't have opposition, is that correct? Okay, so I'll turn it over to Commissioner Boulogne to lead the discussion.
Thank you. You can stay up there, Parks. So first, thank you for meeting with the community. I think that meeting occurred just about a week and a half ago, is that right?
Yeah, week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And it seems like there's a lot of community interest in keeping this Farmer John's going
That
at
is
this
correct.
time. I just noticed the counts of folks that you estimated in your traffic survey was kind of low coming and going from Farmer John's. Do you have any concern regarding their ability to keep going there? Did you see the,
Yeah, well, and to be clear, that was traffic counts generated by Cobb DOT, not our traffic
Okay.
engineer. That was their estimates based upon the types of uses using the ITE manual on trip generation. So, yeah, I mean, they've been there, they've been successful for many years. The community, it's run by a family that everyone knows and appreciates their service to the community. So I expect that, with the traffic volume only increasing on Due West Road, that they will have a viable business and a viable opportunity to stay there.
okay. What would your plans be for the building if and when they ever aren't there anymore?
Yeah, I mean-
That structure.
I mean, I note the uses in the area. The Unwind used to be a dessert place. So buildings get reused and redeveloped. So the point of our revised site plan is it creates the structure with a smaller building there. So the hope would be that it would remain, even if the family that runs it now decides not to keep running it, retires, then it could be a fruit stand, vegetable stand, or something like that. But the fact that we're agreeing to this site plan means it's going to be a limited square foot building, and it will, doesn't have a massive parking. It's not going to be like a big restaurant or a daycare or anything like that. Can't fit there. So it's going to be a smaller use that you would see there. So hopefully it just remains as a vegetable stand.
Okay. What's your understanding of the age of that building that's there right now, that's used as the Farmer John's?
I would say it was probably built in the 30s or 40s? 1949.
There you go.
And I remember when it was one story. It used to be that when you go out there and that's two stories, that was built sometime in the early 70s when they added a second floor to it.
Did anybody discuss the possibility of a stipulation that it be brought in compliance with current building codes if and when Farmer John's moves on?
That is a good condition. We're great with that.
You would be?
Yes.
Okay. Was any consideration given to using the LRC classification rather than the classification sought?
I don't think that there's any, Mr. Peterson would like to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, and, Commissioner Boulogne, the staff did consider that, but to have the special exception for the contractor's office, it needs to be zoned in NRC, unless the board wants to give a variance for it to be in LRC.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any kind of visuals on the office and shop to the rear?
We don't yet, and this is the chicken and egg problem that we have all the time, which is, until you know what you're going to get zoned, architectural design can be tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And so that's the reason why we put in the stipulation letter, final architecture will be consistent amongst all three buildings. As the Farmer John's is restored and rehabbed, it will have some architectural tie-ins to both the commercial building and the office building, and that those would be approved by the district commissioner.
Okay. Can you tell us where the entrance would be for the shop and/or auto storage in the,
Yeah, it would be through the
right there?
side.
Through the side,
Yeah.
okay.
In front, the parking would be front, and then it's a daylight basement type situation, so it would be an entrance on the side also.
Okay. I'm not asking for tens of thousands of dollars of work to be done in the way of visuals, but do you think it's possible to get some visual on what that building would look like?
I think we can, yeah.
Okay. All right. Those were all the questions I had at this time.
I had a question for Parks.
Mr. Anderson, you had a question?
Okay. So Park, just, I want to make sure I understand kind of all the site plans. So I think the one on the screen is April 23rd, and I think in the DOT comments, there's a reference to a site plan revised June 18th. And then the one in the stip letter is, this is the one in the stip letter.
Correct. This is
So-
the revised site plan. This is the site plan we filed the application with. This is the site plan that the original DOT comments were based upon.
Okay.
This is the revised site plan that was submitted, I think June 18th is correct. And then this is their traffic impact report based upon the top being the revised and the bottom being the original as submitted.
Okay, so there's no June 18th site plan?
No.
is it? Okay.
Well, no, I think, let me see what the,
I was just looking at a comment in DOT, and I can ask DOT that as well, if that was just a reference to the letter submission.
I don't have the
submission.
dates in it. Do you have the stamp date on it, John?
Yeah, the site plan that you're talking about, the June 18th one, that was submitted to my office on June 18th. It just didn't have a revision date on it, but the one shown on the screen right now is the original plan, which we're not going by anymore. But the site plan, the revised site plan is also the site plan that's attached to Parks' letter dated June 24th, 2025.
Yeah.
And in that letter, so that says, so even though it was the June 24th stip letter, and in that stip letter, it has a site plan dated April 23rd. April 23rd, that's the latest site plan. There's been no, it sounds like there was another one submitted recently on the 18th. Is there?
Actually, what it shows in here, I'll put it up here.
Okay. I just want to make sure because the recommendation, there's one reference to one date and another date, so I just want to make sure we're kind of
This is
getting
the
the right.
site plan that's attached to my stipulation letter dated June 24th. It was digitally sent, I think, on the 18th, but then physically sent to the office on the 20th. So the proper way is to reference the site plan with a received by the zoning department June 20th.
Okay, so the one that has a date, April 23rd on it, is the latest one?
I think that they probably didn't put the revision, that happens all the time with.
Okay.
Land planners don't update they'll update the plan, but then they don't change the revision date. So the way to reference it would be the site plan received by zoning department June 20th.
Okay, but
And
then,
attached to the June 24th stipulation letter.
so the site plan on the screen right now is the site plan, whatever it's dated, that's the site plan that we should kind of be thinking about in reference to the comments in the stip letter.
That is correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you for clarifying that. And this may be one more question for you on the Farmer John's building. If this might be a planning question, but is there, do you know of any variance that'd be required just to be added, given the 50-foot setback encroachment? Just as an existing condition?
Yeah, I think add that variance for the existing,
Yeah, we have it zoned to the site plan, so
Yep.
got to take that into account.
it's zoned to the site plan, so that recognizes that variance. So yes.
Right. But the site plan recommendations from planning were for the April 2nd site plan. So those will be, I guess, updated for the April 23rd site plan now?
Yes,
And then so there'll need to be a variance added to any recommendation for,
that's right.
okay, so, okay. And then, for you might have said this, but for the abandoned right-of-way, was there, did the stipulation letter contemplate any treatment of that or address that in any way, or is that just not considered as part of the stipulation letter or any requests?
I think there may be two, let me make sure I understand your question. There's two things going on. One, currently there are two driveways that access the property. This area of Due West Road is so congested, reducing and limiting the number of driveway access is important. So we've agreed to one access point rather than the current two driveways. The other issue is that Burnt Hickory Road that's shown up on the site plan as Burnt Hickory Road is a county right-of-way. It was the old Burnt Hickory Road. It was relocated, so that's, I shouldn't say abandoned. It's right-of-way owned by Cobb County that is not used as a public road. We cannot stipulate anything related to that. That's county-owned, and so we are not accessing that existing right-of-way of old Burnt Hickory Road.
Okay. Got it. All right. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Any additional questions from the commissioners?
Try to sit down too quick.
Okay. I think you're good to sit down, I think so.
I just had a couple other questions to go through of staff, if we could. One would be stormwater, if Andrew could come up.
Good morning, Cobb County Stormwater Management, Andrew Heath.
Okay, I just saw a comment regarding stormwater leaving this site and wanting an enhanced water treatment system of some kind. Can you just comment on that?
Yeah, where they're showing the proposed stormwater management area is in that corner on this site plan. It's kind of that upper corner, the little box that's shown in the upper corner of the site plan. And that's the low area of the site, so that's where water naturally wants to run to. Right now, of course, there isn't a pond there, and water just drains away across onto the neighbor's property, and that's fine. That's an existing condition. Sometimes in the developed condition, when the pond is there, because of the way the pond functions, the pond kind of stores the water up and lets it out more slowly over an extended period of time. So right now, although the pond would control flow rates and provide water quality for the site, the neighbor would see, if they were standing out there in the rain, they would see water. It would run kind of fast when it's raining, and then when the rain stops, the water kind of stops within, a few hours to a trickle. So the pond would continue to kind of let that water trickle for a little bit longer period of time. And so we can't really see the neighbor's property there, but I guess my consideration is where the neighbor has an existing accessory structure and driveway that's built kind of right adjacent to the rear property line of this property. And so it's just kind of an existing feature. It's nothing that this property owner really has any control over. But during plan review, sometimes we try to find some sort of maybe improvement to that. We might be able to talk to the neighbor and see if maybe we could install a pipe or something maybe under his driveway or something like that, something to make it a little bit better for them, maybe in the proposed condition. But the neighbor has their driveway built sort of in that flow path where water just goes kind of right over their driveway is the way it looks right now. So I think my comments in that stormwater analysis for the zoning is to look at that in plan review and try to say, see if we can come up with a better solution for that, for that downstream neighbor during plan review.
All right. Can you talk about special condition 1, the dumpster pad on the site?
Yeah, and that's common for any site. We don't want anything discharged into stormwater that's not just unadulterated rainfall runoff. So if there's a certain area on site, like a dumpster, where the rainfall runoff could get contaminated before it runs away, we want to have that separated from the stormwater runoff. So on some sites, it may be convenient to connect that dumpster pad drainage to the sanitary sewer system. On this site, that may not be the case, in which case they can just have a small infiltration area there near the dumpster and just have the pad drain into that little infiltration area. And then that water will be separated from the other storm water and just infiltrate into the ground. So either of those options would be fine. And that's kind of a normal comment for about every site if they have a dumpster.
All right, so you consider that a fairly standard comment?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing exceptional about this site rendering a heightened concern?
Not in particular, not except for, like I say, the downstream neighbor and kind of how we might be able to improve that situation a little bit. Maybe that's a little unique. If there were no one downstream and it discharged more directly, like into a stream or something like that, we wouldn't have that concern. But that's not an uncommon concern, in an urban area to have adjacent neighbors. So we'll have to try to figure out a better solution to that in plan review.
And your staff comments called for a pre-development and post-development sediment study, correct?
Yes, that same neighbor that I was mentioning there, that's kind of off to the upper side of this plan sheet that we can't see, on the opposite side of their home, they have an existing lake that's there. And so anytime we have an existing lake, we ask the applicant to do a pre- and post-development sediment study. And that's just, the pre-study is to develop sort of a baseline for what the lake's condition is now. And then the post-development study is to, have that done in the post-development condition that you can then compare to that pre-development analysis. And of course, that's assuming that the downstream neighbor wants to have that done. Sometimes the downstream neighbor, even though we request that to be done, the downstream neighbor will just say, hey, no thanks, we're not interested in doing that. But that's something that we typically would require if there's a downstream lake.
And you think with your comments, adequate precautions are in place to prevent a nuisance condition from occurring in that regard? Okay. Those are all the questions I had for stormwater. Thank you.
All right, any additional questions? You had additional questions as well. Any commissioners
I
have any
did.
additional questions for stormwater? Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Just, Mr. Peterson, just for planning purposes, what do we need to do about the variance that was pointed out by Commissioner Anderson? Is this something where we need to have a formal variance added to this? Or?
No, I think as long as you make it subject to the stipulation letter from Parks Huff dated June 24th, 2025, which includes the revised site plan, I think we're covered.
Okay. So if anybody else has any additional questions of staff before I offer a motion? Okay. My motion is going to be that we hold this for 1 month and that we ask for the applicant to provide us with some visual regarding the appearance and maybe a statement regarding exterior materials for the office and the shop building portion of this, and then to update the stipulation letter to incorporate the various additional conditions that the applicant has stated today that he's comfortable with. So, pardon my inflection, that was all.
All right, thank you, and I'll entertain a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Massey. Any discussion? All right, call the question. All right, and the vote passes 5-0 to hold for 1 month for Z14.
Okay, next case is LUP 24 of 2025. Brandon Lorenzo requests a temporary land use permit to allow occupancy of an accessory structure and to allow one extra vehicle in land lot 1100 of the 19th district. The property is located on the southwest corner of Janet Way and Hiram Lithia Springs Road. Is the applicant present? The direction of the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to LEP 24? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please state your name if you could for the record. Thank you.
My name is Brandon Lorenzo. I live in 4943 Janet Way, Powder Springs, Georgia, zip code 30127.
Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, and now I'm here for the continuance of the hearing about the land of use permit for the cars, for my family car, and it was also about the shed I have in the back where my grandpa was currently living, which we didn't have the inspector swim back. They went once, but they never came back again. So I was hoping we could go ahead and move forward and get this over with already. You guys have any questions for me?
All right, this is in District 4. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Massey to lead the discussion. Thank you.
As I'm just arriving, can you please update me and tell me what you're asking for?
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
give me an update as to what has taken place thus far?
Yes, so last time we were here, I came to ask for a land of use permit because code enforcement, I believe they're probably asking for it because I have a multi-generational family in my house, like all my sisters, my grandfather is living with us. So it's just that we had to kind of extend our driveway, like widen it more so we can park the cars. Because at first we had them parked in the yard, which they said it wasn't okay. So we could either go for the blocks or extend the driveway or asphalt. So we thought it was a better option to go with the driveway instead, just because our house already has a driveway, so we just made it wider instead. And I had around, I think we had 8, 9 cars maybe in our driveway. That's because, we're all starting to drive. I have 2 cars. My dad has 2 cars. My sister has a car. And then I have another sister that is turning 18, one that's turning 19 that are also getting ready to get another car. So we were here trying to get the permit. That way, we were okay with code enforcement and stuff like that. And we also had a shed for my grandpa, which he was living in it, but the inspector had said that it was not good for living conditions because he needed to have a restroom, a kitchen, and it had to be, I think, close to the house. So instead, we just put my grandpa in my room, and then as of right now, I've just been like in the living room, in my room. Because my grandpa's usually not home. He's usually working, and then he goes to church, so yeah.
Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Since there is an opposition, I guess I can go ahead and ask you some questions while you are standing. Can you tell me how many people are living in the property? And then also tell me how many vehicles there are?
Okay.
And how
so-
many you're proposing, because I think I heard you say
I'm
that
sorry?
there are other, and how many you're proposing, because I think I heard you say that there are younger siblings that will be driving soon as well.
Right. So the first time we came, I had only taken one of my sisters into accountability that is currently 19 years old. I have another one that's turning 18 years old in October. So it'll be, I'm gonna do a little bit of math. So around 9 people. It'll be me, the older brother, and 5 of my younger sisters. My dad, my mom, and my grandpa. That's 8 people. And I have 2 cars, one that I use like my daily use, and then the one that I use on the weekends. My dad also has his work truck, and he also has his personal vehicle. My grandpa has his vehicle, my sister has her vehicle, and my dad has the RAV4. So it should be like 8 vehicles in total right now in the house, which we've already extended the driveway. We've widened it more. That way, instead of getting in each other's way, we're parking in a way where we're all moving without having to move all the cars before, like having to put everyone in the street so one person can get out. So we made it wide enough to where nobody has to get on the street. We can all just pull out the driveway.
Okay, do you have any pictures of how you all parked in the driveway?
I don't have any pictures, but I could possibly get one. I'm trying to look right now.
And also, can you tell me how large your home is in
how-
square footage?
Square footage? Okay, let me go on Zillow for that.
And if staff has that number that they can share.
Yes, the house is, according to the tax records, the house is 2,227 square feet.
Yeah, I just died. Okay, I got the square footage too, but I think he said it. It was 2,527. 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. There's actually, now I think there's 5 bedrooms because we have another bedroom that's in upstairs. That bedroom is like divided in 2. Like when we bought the house, it was already composed that way.
Okay. And I also heard you say that there are some work vehicles.
Yeah,
Okay, I see
just
the
one,
picture here.
which is my father's, and that's the current. The way, do you see how those 2 cars are parked that way? I believe when that picture was taken by the Google car, it does seem pretty recent. maybe from 2-3 months ago. The little car you see over there, all the way to the right, is one of my sisters. That one right there. That one, she takes it to work every day. So I'm pretty sure, due to it seems like it was around midday, so she was probably getting ready to leave. That's why it's on the street. But normally that's how all the cars are parked on the side, and the driveway is just left for my mom's car and my dad's work truck, which is the truck all the way up front right there.
And the trailer hitch, is that something that's left on the
That's also
property?
used for work.
Is it on the property consistently?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's usually not there on weekends, which will be Saturday or Sundays.
And you mentioned that you are the owner of 2 vehicles, one for the week, during the week, and then one for the weekend, correct?
Yes, yes.
Is are one of those cars going to be allocated to one of the sisters who will be driving soon?
Because we don't want to add any more cars, because, you know, we're already applying just for, I think, 8 vehicles, 9. Probably not. I'll probably just give one of the cars to my sisters and just use the one that I would say, like, trips and stuff like that, just to daily it. So we could just adjust it. We can just adjust and not have any more cars, because I already told them, hey, you know, we're going to have to see if you can get another car or not, because we're having, you know, the issue about too many cars. And then if we add more cars, then...
Okay. Do you know how long your family plans to, since you have an 18, 19, and older, do you know how long everyone intends to stay together?
I am not too sure, because they're all girls. Like, I'm the only male out of all my sisters, my siblings. So I'm thinking my sisters will probably be there a little bit longer. I'm not too sure, so.
And there are 2 drivers that are not presently accounted for within the family structure that you mentioned out of the 8 cars, correct?
Sorry?
There's 2 members that have not been accounted for, 2 sisters that have not been accounted for with the 8 vehicles that you currently have, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
because they don't have cars at the moment.
All right. Does any of my fellow commissioners have any questions? No? All right, you can have a seat, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have one that has a question. You may want to stand up there for just a minute. Commissioner Anderson?
For the expansion of the kind of the driveway that you did, have you ever looked at kind of in any enclosures for that driveway?
Any
Or
enclosures?
fencing or anything like that?
Yeah, we're planning to do the fencing, but it's just that the extending the driveway, it was an expense we weren't counting with.
Okay.
So we currently still owe money to the company that did the concrete for us. So it's just kind of impossible to come up with more paper right now to come up with money to do the fencing. But we do plan on doing fencing, but at the same time, we also have to think about it, because the way our house is located, if we do the fencing, we've lived in the property 3 years, and during those 3 years, we had 3 cars, like, have car accidents, maybe because they speed, and they end up in our yard. So that was actually something I was gonna bring up to DOT once I got this permit thing over with.
Got it. And the only other question was for your hitch, are there any other places that, for the trailer, I'm sorry, do you have any places that you can have looked at parking at off-site?
The way we put the trailer, if they can go back to the picture, please. So the way we have the trailer right there, we kind of asked the people that did the driveway for us to just divide its own space for it. That way it's not taken away from any other cars, and it's not in a way for any of us. So that way when we get out, we don't have to move no cars at all. We just put the hitch on it, and then we just drive it out.
Okay. But have you ever parked that trailer off-site, or has it always been parked there?
Oh, no. We always park it there. Before we had the driveway, we used to put it in the backyard.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Can you indicate what kind of business you have, and if there is another location that this particular trailer hitch could go to?
Okay, so the business we do is a granite countertop business. We could not move to the trailer to another location because the place where we rent, the people who we rent to, they don't really recommend we even leave trucks there. Because, people can kind of break into it because a lot of people walk by there. So it could possibly get broken into. Where we rent the shop, which is on 209 Maxon Road, that's where we rent to do the granite countertop fabrications and all that. That's where we rent, so it's maybe like 15-minute drive from my house. So we cannot relocate. I mean, I could relocate it maybe like more towards the back if that's okay, but I don't think it's gonna be okay.
Have you also considered, so I heard a question from one of the commissioners about fencing. And have you also considered possibly putting up a vegetation buffer so that you provide some type of
Yes,
buffer?
so all those
around?
spots right there, we are gonna go ahead and do the revegetation again, because we're planning to, because if you see we have like a small deck right there, it's currently, we took it off because it was on code, it wasn't on code. We wasn't up to code, so right now we're going through the back of the house, because that one we have a deck in the back, so we're going around the house right now. But once we fix the deck up front and everything, because we're not too sure how we're gonna do it either at the moment, but once we do, we're gonna pull out all the old grass and put in a new one.
What's the timeline on completing this work?
Well, if money can set right, I don't know, maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Probably less if we're able to come up with the money. Just that right now everything is a little bit more expensive, especially wood. That's why the fence hasn't gone up, and the deck, the way we had it, I mean, when we had the inspectors swing by, because we also did a remodeling inside the house, but we had electrical work that needed to be inspected. So the inspector has said, hey, it's not up to code. Before you guys get like any complaints by code enforcement, you'll like just get it removed. So we just removed it instead.
Okay. I'd actually like to, if you're done with your presentation, I'd like to actually hear from code enforcement, because I believe that that's one of the reasons this case was brought to us. I'd like to hear from them in terms of if anybody from code enforcement is here. Nope, not here. Okay. All right. Well, can you speak to the citation that you received from code enforcement and any remedies that you guys have made?
I don't have it with me, but they did leave a copy. I do have all the paperwork saved at home, but I just didn't bring it with me.
Okay. All right. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
Does-
guys have
do
any questions
anybody
for me,
have any other questions?
more
Any
than
of my
happy to
fellow
answer them.
commissioners?
Any other questions?
If you could just speak to the issue of the, what's in the backyard, where your grandfather was?
Oh, yeah, we had a shed. Well, we
So do you have like one shed, or you have
we have
multiple
two.
sheds?
Two.
Okay.
So the first one, at first we had bought it just with the purpose of storage. That was it. We weren't planning on my grandpa moving. My grandpa was living in Delaware. He's, I think, 63 years old, and we're trying to persuade him to go back home already. He just doesn't want to. So he was like, so we're not so far apart. I'll just go live with you guys. So that's what we did with the shed, and we went ahead and those two right there, huh? So my grandpa's living on the one to the left. And the one right there, we had to get another one because we needed the storage, so that one is just storage. There's nothing but just stuff that we have there.
So the use of both of them right now is just for storage?
Yes, because after the inspector went by and said that it wasn't good, then my grandpa went back in the house, and right now it's empty. We don't have anything in it, but we're starting to put stuff in there. But right now it's empty. We just want to wait before we can go ahead and start putting stuff in there. If they're gonna go and take a look at it, we don't know. That's why we still have it empty. But once we get a go that okay, nobody can live in there, then we're gonna have to start storing stuff there.
Once you get a what?
Once we get it go, like okay, nobody can live there, then we can go ahead and just keep using it for storage.
Okay, do you have plans to ask if somebody else can live there, or you're accepting the fact that no one else can live there?
I mean, I think I'm just gonna have to accept the fact. I don't think I can, put up an argument against it if it's not up to you guys' code. So.
Okay, and so the exact number of people you have in the house right now is how many?
9 with my grandfather, counting my grandfather.
Okay, thank you.
So I was just following up on Commissioner Massey's question on the code enforcement. I was just looking through the files that we had on there, and the most recent inspections they'd done, they'd kind of observed a total of 5 vehicles, maybe 6 mostly, over the
Yeah.
past month or so. Is that, are you down to basically 6 vehicles now?
No. We're still all 8. It's just the fact that we all leave to work during the day. So by the time the inspector comes, usually it's probably my mom and my siblings, because they're out on vacation
Okay.
right now. So that's why they probably put 6 people.
Okay, yeah, I
But-
just wanted to confirm if there was any change in that.
No changes, no changes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have one other question. Last month, there was a number of people here that were speaking in opposition. Did you have any meetings with your neighbors?
No, I didn't have any oppositions last time. No, ma'am, no oppositions last time. I did speak to my neighbors before I went ahead and did the driveway. I had let them know, hey, I'm running into a little bit of trouble. They were like, okay, yeah, that's fine with us. We never have noise complaints with our neighbors. If we're gonna have a party, we go ahead and let them know, hey, we also invite them. We're gonna have a cookout, a party. If you wanna come, we're more than welcome to too. But I've never had any issues with my neighbors.
All right, if you will have a seat for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. In light of what his testimony has been, and with code enforcement not being here, I would love to just hold this for about 30 days so that I can tap in and check in with code enforcement to ensure that we are considering all factors before making a final judgment. That would be my motion.
Second?
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? Let's call the question. Okay, and it is approved 5-1 to hold LUP 24 for 30 days.
Okay, moving into the regular cases. First case on the agenda is rezoning case Z15, Sydney Silva and Amber Silva. Request a rezoning from LRO to NRC for a flooring showroom in land lots 310 and 339 of the 16th District. The property is located on the southwest corner of Shallow Road and Shallow Court. Is the applicant present? The applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to rezone case Z15? Two? Okay. Let the record show there's 2 people who are opposed. All those who wish to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please state your name.
My name is Amber Silva. I am here today with All Good Floors. Do I keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Please go ahead. You have 10 minutes.
Okay. We've been brought here today for a zoning change. We are a flooring showroom in Marietta. We have been in Marietta for approximately 20 years now, in business, going on 20 years. Originally a flooring showroom in, sorry, I'm a little nervous, off of Sandy Plains Road and Canton Road in Marietta. And we recently opened a new showroom off Shallowford Road at 2280 Shallowford Road. It's just a flooring showroom. We purchased the building, I believe, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And at that time, it was called a bunny house. It was the one on Shallowford Road. A lot of people know of it. It was there for a really long time, and they rescued bunnies, rehomed bunnies. Basically, it was a bunny haven. So long story short, we purchased the property, and we decided when we bought it that it was a commercial home. It's a freestanding building, really cute house. It wasn't, but it is now. We beautified it, and we turned it into a showroom. It's just a showroom, has nothing but samples inside for customers to come in to view and or make an appointment, and they can come in and we can meet them there. It's not high traffic. It's a great location. It's not high traffic at all. Sometimes we don't even get one customer in the day, but it is a showroom there for access for people to do walk-ins as well. Excuse me. So at this point, what we're requesting is a change in zoning, if possible. We thought LRC was fine, but I believe because of an additional building that we put in the back, that we're now requested to change from LRC to NRC, or LRO to NRC. So that is the request that we are making. We live in the community. We've been in the community for 27 years. Members of our children's school, when our children graduated from Lassiter. We're just a family-owned business, and we've just extended the business, and really that's really it. There is really nothing more to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I'll turn it over to, let's see what district, this is District 3. Okay, opposition first. Okay, so we do have opposition, so thank you so much. Is that all you want to share? You do have additional minutes left.
Well, I want to make sure that I do cover everything.
Sure.
The building, when we did purchase it, it was purchased through real estate. It was dilapidated, it was uninhabitable, it was an eyesore. The community was complaining about it because we did a lot of market research in that area to kind of get an idea of what people thought about it. Apparently, there was a lot of people that were, the ones that stay and they don't leave, the ones that kind of like kind of go into the house and they stay there, a lot of drugs, a lot of stuff was going on in that house, and it had been vacant for a little while. So when we actually purchased it and met the owners, they were elated. They were amazed at what we were going to do to it, and we did. And it's beautiful. It's right across the street from another shopping center, right off of Shallowford. So we are surrounded by several low-rise office spaces, and then there is it's a mixed community. Then there's homes also behind, churches, etc. So we were just asking for permission to allow our business to continue. All the floors on Shallowford Road, and that is it. Yes, I'm finished.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead and have a seat.
Okay.
You may be called back up later, but we can go ahead and call up the opposition. And if you could state your name before you begin, and then you can go ahead and begin. You'll have 10 minutes.
Sure. My name is Justin McLean. I live next door to the showroom that they opened. So I guess I wanted to say I didn't know that there was a cutoff of Wednesday for public comments. I did leave one, but it was Sunday night. I don't know if anybody was able to see it or not. I did bring a hard copy of it if anybody would be interested. If not, I could also read it. It's only 2 pages.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. You said you have
sorry.
what for comment?
I submitted a public comment, but I didn't know that there was a cutoff date of the Wednesday before the hearing. I submitted it Sunday night. I don't know if anybody was able to see it or not.
I'm not sure. Mr. Peterson? No, we were not.
Okay.
Is it allowable for him to share that at this time? Yes. You can go ahead and share that at this time, please, if
Okay.
you like.
When you said, you mean I can share one of the hard copies I brought, or just read it?
You can just read it, probably
Okay.
best for us to
Sure.
absorb it.
All right, so if I read it, I'm the property owner of 3771 Shallow Court. My fiance and I purchased the home in July of 2021. The property that abuts my parcel is 2280 Shallowford Road. This property previously applied for a variance for a rabbit sanctuary. The variance was granted for that use only. The property changed hands in October of 2021, and the new owner has requested rezoning from LRO to NRC and variances related to a large warehouse they constructed recently. I'm not necessarily opposed to the rezoning recommendations by the zoning division, which I believe was LRC, but I am opposed to NRC and the requested variances, as are some of my neighbors. Until recently, I had very few complaints about the property. It was relatively quiet. Like they said, they don't have a ton of traffic come through. And visually, it blended in fairly well with the neighborhood. They did do a good job renovating it. However, last fall, that changed significantly. The business currently operating there, All Good Floors, cleared nearly all the trees that served as a natural buffer between my home and their business. The land next to my fence was graded, which changed the elevation to nearly the same height as the rest of their parcel, which is significantly higher than my property. The elevation raise is, it's like about even with the fence that I had between our properties. So like a 8-foot, if you were to step 8 feet away from my fence on their side, it's up to about the same height as the fence. And then a large concrete slab was poured. This was all done without permits, and now the dirt is actually pushing against the bottom of the fence, which I think is going to cause rot. I have some pictures in here also. I don't know if that's something that I can... They're kind of hard to see for the fence side, but... Can I share these with you also? So that is from a picture taken over the fence, and you can, it's kind of hard to see, sorry, I don't have a color printer. You can see that it's pushing against the bottom of the fence. There's another 2x4 that would go across at the bottom that isn't visible because of the growth there. All right, and then I did speak to the owner, Sydney, whenever I came home from a trip and saw that the land was cleared and that he was about to pour a slab. I also asked if he had pulled permits. He told me that he did, but later admitted that he had not pulled permits and that he was planning to build a 40 by 50 foot warehouse to store flooring materials. And I'm actually, I don't totally remember. We had a conversation with them with what they were intending to store there. I know some of it was flooring samples, but they'd also mentioned closing their other warehouse that was, I think, off of Marietta Highway. And I think that they were keeping materials there. Sorry. At first, I was trying to find a mutual ground with them and see if there was like a compromise we could come up with, because I was not happy about this 40 by 50 foot warehouse going in right next to my house. I was trying to work with him. I got a little concerned about the lack of permitting, especially we live on a pretty steep hill and there's a lot of water runoff. With the new slab that was poured, that's a lot of ground area that's not going to absorb water anymore, and then also water will be redirected and could be directed to the foundation of my house. My immediate neighbors actually have like structural repairs to their foundation because of water damage a few years ago, so it's something that I'm very concerned about. Sorry, still going through this. Those concerns I don't think were being adequately addressed, and I wanted there to be like engineers involved, which was part of the reason I decided that I wanted to get the county involved. I made sure that I notified him. They had said that they had a deposit on the warehouse, and I tried to make sure that they had time to get their deposit back so that they could cancel their warehouse and try to get the county involved. I also attempted to notify the county. I think I called the wrong office, though, and I was told basically since it was just a slab, there wasn't anything that they could do. So for a while, nothing happened. And then in February, the building proceeded. I woke up early, I think Friday or Saturday morning, and there was a whole crew out there setting up this giant warehouse. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. I'm skimming some of the details in here. But to get back to what I was saying, the warehouse itself, oh, also, whenever I talked to him, I did send him an email to notify him of the zoning restrictions that were in place and the ones that he was violating. So he was fully aware that he wasn't supposed to be building the warehouse and proceeded to build it anyways, and did not make any efforts to contact the county beforehand. The warehouse was up within about 2 days. I also contacted the code enforcement office whenever they started building it. It took them a little while to get out there, and it was essentially done by the time they got out there. The warehouse is only 8 feet from my property line at the closest point. My house is also very close to the edge of our property line, so this building is probably within 15 feet of my house. And it's massive. It extends past my house on both sides. And the reason I'm talking so much about this building is there's a variance in this rezoning request that will allow the building to stay where it is. Sorry, oh yeah, and so there's pictures you can see of, that's the view from my back porch. The ground is essentially even with my back porch. And then there's, I don't know which pictures you've shown. Have you shown the one from the front or the? No, that was just when it was just the slab. Yeah, could you show that one? So this is from the front of my house. You can see how it is like massive, and it takes up essentially my entire front yard. The loss of the privacy buffer there also means that this business, it feels like the business is like in my front yard now. The style of the building also doesn't match the rest of the neighborhood. Like, this is a large sheet metal building. It looks like a warehouse. It doesn't look like something that should be there. And it's also immediately available as soon as you pull into the neighborhood. So it's on the right and very visible. I feel like it's changed the look of the entire neighborhood. I'm also concerned about long-term noise impacts, depending on what the building is actually used for, whether that's deliveries from large trucks or trucks idling, or is there going to be forklifts involved moving stuff, or pallets slamming down early in the morning. The large warehouse door, I believe I've heard it open a few times, and it's also very loud. I can hear it inside of my house. I don't think this is appropriate for it being so close to a residential area. So to, I guess, kind of reiterate my issues here, there's water runoff issues, which I'm worried about my foundation with. I'm worried about the noise and traffic from commercial materials and trucks. The privacy loss, there's essentially a business in my front yard now. And the property value loss that I'm gonna take from this large warehouse being right next to my house. I'm also concerned about possibly any other restrictions that might be placed on this. Even just the notifications that were supposed to be sent out from them to the surrounding community, where the letters, I think, were mailed out 5 days late. And then the signs that were supposed to be posted were taken down multiple times. I have pictures of those on my phone too. I could share if I needed to. So I ask that you guys deny the request for the variances. I'm not necessarily opposed to the business staying there. Like I said, its regular business of just the showroom was not an issue. They did make the front of the main house on the property, it does look a lot better, but they were very much aware of what they were doing whenever they built this 2,000 square foot.
Thank you so much. Yeah, your time has expired, but thank you so much for your comments,
All right,
okay?
thank you.
You can go ahead and step down. You may be called up a little later. This is in District 3. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Dance to lead the discussion.
Thank you. Just for clarification, was there anyone else here in opposition? You were with him. Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Peterson, can you address the history that was just given to us by the opposition with respect to what's been done to this property?
Sure. You know, reading through the final case analysis, it looks like code enforcement received a complaint on February 24th of 2025 regarding this very large storage building being built. And code enforcement went out on February 26th and gave the property owner a notice of violation for the storage building because it didn't meet the requirements for an accessory structure in the zoning district. So they were put on notice very early in the process. And then I do see the notes where Mr. McLean did send in another complaint at the beginning of March regarding the very large storage building.
Okay, and what's the status of that?
Right now, they're under a notice of violation for the storage building.
And so notice of violation requires what action?
Well, it puts the property owner on notice that their building does not meet zoning requirements, and you know they need to rectify it either by tearing it down, getting a variance, or getting the Board of Commissioners to approve a variance for the accessory building.
Okay, and none of those things has occurred to your knowledge?
That's correct.
Okay, so with respect to the original application then, what was staff's recommendation?
It was to dilute it to limited retail commercial from NRC. Property is currently zoned low-rise office, subject to a lot of conditions, and it was zoned probably about 14 to 15 years ago for the rabbit rescue business.
But without this accessory structure that's
Correct.
been built now?
Correct.
Right. So for your recommendation to move forward, would that issue need to be resolved?
If the board were to accept the staff recommendation, then the issue regarding the building would be resolved as far as the location.
Okay, and because the staff recommendation states what with respect to the accessory building?
It's going to be zoned to the site plan, and additionally, the staff recommendation is to accept all the variances that are listed in the zoning comments. That include the accessory building.
Okay, have any meetings been held with the applicant about the accessory building?
No.
Okay. Okay, and you had some other recommendations that related to parking, is that right?
Take a look here. Yeah, currently there's a large amount of gravel in and around the original house going to the accessory building, and the staff recommendation is to have the parking paved and striped to county standards.
So the slab that's on the accessory building, though, would be removed? Would that be?
If the Board of Commissioners denied this, then, you know, depending on what the motion is, it would have to be removed.
Okay. And how would that affect this parking recommendation? Would it-
It might help parking because there's less building square footage to account for in the parking calculation.
Okay, does anyone else have questions of staff?
For John, so question on the kind of permits. Can you update as to whether the permits for the work that was done were actually pulled to complete this work?
The applicant pulled no permits for any of this work.
Okay. And then, I guess I had another question that just slipped my mind. It came back into my mind. See how that works? Just have to wake up a little bit. So if this were accepted, let me work the logic here. Any acceptance would still require that existing building to be subject to existing code.
That's right. So it would have to be permitted and inspected to make sure it meets building code.
Right. And if it were inspected without certain variances, is it fair to say that if there is a version of this where the building does stay, but the variances were removed, they would effectively, and I don't know what the expense of that is, if it makes more sense just to knock the thing down, but would agreeing to it allow or require the applicant to restore some of the tree buffer that was displaced and to actually implement proper stormwater and runoff management?
Yeah, say the Board of Commissioners just denied this outright, then the building would have to be removed, and they would have to restore the buffers on the south and west property lines.
Okay. And then if they did accept but without the variances, is that the same thing effectively as a denial?
Correct.
Okay. All right, great, thank you. Those are my questions.
Has anybody gone ahead and taken a look at the interior of the building to see?
No.
Okay.
You know, this is a steel building that's pre-engineered, so as long as they built it to the manufacturer's specifications, it should be okay. But we still need to inspect it, you know, especially the foundation of it.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions of staff from any of the commissioners? Okay, thank you, John.
Okay, and if I could have Ms. Silva come back forward, please. Hi. So having heard what we've just heard about the accessory structure, can you tell us what due diligence y'all are making with respect to that structure?
Well, as of today, just the questions that were asked, we did receive I just want to kind of put everything in order.
Right.
We received the violation. I did speak, I think Mr. Terrell, he was a gentleman I spoke to immediately as soon as I got the letter. I reached out to him. He told me what I needed to do. I did it. When I went down to the city, that's when everything was changed from, it was about the building, and then I was told that I had to change it and rezone, like completely. So I thought we were jumping right into the building, but then we were told that we were going to the zoning first. So that's kind of where we are. We haven't done anything as far as the building. There's nothing's been done to it. There's no electricity, there's no water, there's nothing. We have not done anything since we were sent the violation. And we're willing to do whatever. We did, am I able to comment on what the neighbor said? The person that came up earlier?
Okay.
Am I able,
we may restrict you, but you can.
I just wanted to make a comment. He did come to us. We did try working amicably. We invited him and his fiance to the show, and we all met, and we were very, we wanted them to know what we were doing. We did not just do anything. We wanted them to know, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the business. You can research us. You can look us up. We're not going to be making noise. He was very specific. The gentleman, he asked us, are you guys going to be unloading anything? Are you going to be loading anything? Is it going to be early in the morning? Is it going to be late at night? We were so specific. We are just storing samples. There's not going to be trucks coming, picking up material. And yes, we do have another location. Like he said, it's not Marietta Parkway. It's Canton Road in Canton Road Plaza. Like, we've been there almost 20 years. And that was all I wanted to say. So I just wanted to let you know that we do have another location, and we have a huge warehouse there. We have almost 6,000 square feet there. So this was not being used. We were thinking about closing it, but closing the store, because it's a store that we sell material, and then we also do installation. So we're a full service flooring company. So we do everything. Do it yourself, buy the supplies, or.
Okay, well, let's just talk about what you do on this property.
Yes, ma'am.
So the original application was for a showroom only.
Only.
Okay. And what, is that in the existing house?
Yes, it is a showroom only. There's samples.
Okay, and you operate that currently?
Yes, we just opened full, if you want to say full-time. When I say full-time, that would be Monday through Saturday for the last couple of years, we've just been making it a appointment only. We fixed everything up. We set everything up inside, and then, so in our advertisements, you can look it up online. I mean, our advertisements say, call us for an appointment, and then you would call, and then we would say, hey, we'll meet you at the showroom, and then you have access to the whole showroom to look at everything one-on-one with one of our sales team, and that's it. So there's probably 2 cars, 3 cars max at a time in the front of the showroom. But it's only showroom and computers. No supplies, no trucks, no hand trucks, nothing electrical,
Okay, and
electronic.
the intention for the accessory structure that's currently unused, correct?
Completely unused. It was going to be just for extra displays because a lot of the flooring, it was larger than we kind of anticipated. So, I mean, we didn't mean for it to be that large, but it was for our extra storage. It was for, because a lot of the samples, they come on big metal racks, so it's not just deck boards. I mean, there's racks, and we have to put stuff together. So we needed the space in there to just, I mean, to have all that material. We buy a
Okay.
lot of material. We
What
buy
was-
pad.
Okay. What's your intention currently with that structure?
Currently, right this very second,
Right.
nothing. We can't do anything until,
Okay.
We're allowed to
Have you
do-
met with staff about it?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not, but I know the last time I did meet with somebody at the property, he and I walked the property. I want to say that was Mr. Terrell, and he was measuring and discussing like the distances. I saw him doing that, and we talked, and he said that was kind of when he said, you're probably going to end up having to request a variance of some sort. This is all new terminology to me. So, and that was really the last time. And then, so we
Okay.
met with the city, and then here we are.
All right. And you've also been advised today then what the other options might be with respect to the structure. So
Yes.
You've heard that testimony today, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, and with respect to parking, staff had a recommendation, one, that 2 parcels be joined, or do you own both parcels?
Yes.
Are they
We own
Are they currently joined? Is it that red line, John?
yeah, this whole,
Or the line?
everything highlighted is the property we own.
Okay,
And the one on that's kind of to the Charlotteford Road, that space right there, that empty space,
uh-huh.
and there's nothing there. It's just grass and trees.
Okay, so right now, we don't see the accessory structure, is that right?
Correct.
No, I don't think you can see from there. It would be in the back of I don't think I see it. You see it? Okay. Yeah, like right there. I can't see it.
Okay,
And we did do some is what we consider buffering. We tried to plant some trees, and we planted grass, and we put up a fence, and we did, we did draining, we did all of that. There is really no runoff. There is gravel there right now, but we were gonna pour concrete. If they told us to do concrete, we'll pour concrete. I mean, we're really open to doing whatever we need to do, just so that we're good. We want to be good with the neighbors. That's really just, yes.
okay.
So, yeah, that's the only
Anyone
thing.
else have questions for her?
Mr. Silva, so if you zoom out a little bit on this screen right here, I think on the site plan it says you own the site also 2250, is that correct as well?
The other house there? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we own that.
So this whole basically frontage along Shallowford is, and this L is all under
Well,
that
the
ownership.
2280 is the commercial. That's the one that highlighted in the yellow. The house next to it, 2250,
Yes.
that's just residential. It's a renter. We have a renter in there.
Okay,
So we own the property, but it's not commercial. It's residential.
okay, got it. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. And how high is the existing warehouse? Do you know?
To the top, like the
Mm-hmm.
most extreme height?
Yeah.
The extreme? 12
12 feet high?
inside, like from the bottom all the way to the inside of the ceiling? 12? So what's the game? With the gable, he's saying it's
15,
12
so
to
maximum
15
finish
feet.
height is about 15 feet.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, I had a couple of additional questions. Can you explain a little bit about, you said you did drainage work, you did some landscaping work. I know there were some concerns about just water runoff and all of that. Can you talk more in detail about what work you have done about the water runoff and just what additional landscaping you've done for the property? I know we saw a picture, but can you go in a little bit more detail about that, please?
I wish I had my pictures, because the pictures that were provided are kind of old. But after everything was done, I don't know specifics as far as, but I know that there was drains put in along the building. There was a little, a small mini retaining wall next to the building with drainage, so that, as I was told, that it's gonna be for runoff, so that it won't go into anybody's yard. It's not going into the, because we know the neighbor on the other side too. He said there was nothing going over there. And really, that's the only way that the water would run off. The neighbor directly behind, I don't really see how that could affect him from a runoff. But there was also landscape tarp that was put down. There was grass, the gravel, straw, and then we put trees behind the building. They're small, they're still in their early stages. They're not at the peak, a mature tree, but we tried to put that in the back to kind of make it, you know, to give it some sort of landscape, a buffer. Apparently, it's not big enough, is what I'm being told. But really, that's it. We've kept everything really neat and clean from the front and the side. So, I mean, here's some pictures. I wish I could brought my pictures. And I would have loved to show you pictures from the front of the, so you can see that from the very front of Shaliford, you can't even see the building behind our showroom. That building is, it looks ginormous in the picture, but like whoa, but in perspective with all the trees and the houses around and the building that's in front of this building, we're higher up. That building it's kind of hidden. And then when you take a ride on Shallow Court to go down to his street, you can only see the tip of the building because we have a fence. And that car is gone, that shed was moved, and we were told that all needed to be gravelled or concrete paved, which we were like, okay. But we haven't done anything yet because we didn't know what we have to do. That's why we haven't done anything, because we just were waiting to be told, this is what you have to do. So that's the extent of what we've done. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do you anticipate how long it will take, provided if the variance is approved, for the paving process, for you to get it all ready, just to kind of understand the interruption to the neighborhood?
How long it would take for us to do that? We would do it as soon as possible, immediately.
How long the process would take? Would it be a 2-week, a month process?
Oh, less than a month,
Okay.
for sure. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any additional questions for the applicant? Okay, I think you can go ahead and sit down. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
very
your
much.
additional questions. Anyone else you want to bring up?
Okay, at this time, I'm going to move to hold this for 1 month, and I'm going to direct the applicant to meet with staff and address this accessory structure matter and come back to this board with a recommendation on it, or not a recommendation, with a plan for what your plan would be to move forward. And I mean, I'm just going to make a comment that, you know, I'm not inclined to move forward on your application for rezoning until the accessory structure issue is resolved. I think it's very important that you take this seriously and that be remedied and the impact to the neighbors be remedied before before we really be in a position to consider your application. So that's my motion and my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Dance. I'll entertain a second.
Second?
Could we have a second from Commissioner Anderson? Any discussion? All right, let's call the question. All right, we passed 5-0 to hold Z15 for 1 month.
You want to take a 10-minute break?
Say that again?
Did you want to take a 10-minute break?
I think that'll be great. Thank
All right.
you. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll return at 10:46. All right, it is 10:46, and we are back from our break. We'll go ahead and proceed with our next hearing. I'll turn it over to Mr. Peterson to get us started.
Okay, next case is LEP 25, Luciana Midori Aoyama. Request a temporary land use permit to allow a dog grooming business in land lots 54 and 55 of the 20th District. The property is located on the south side of Lexford Court, southwest of Hickory Grove Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to LUP 25? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
All right, thank you for coming. Please state your name and go ahead and get started. You have 10 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Luciana Aoyama. Thank you for giving me this time to speak. And I am asking for a temporary use permit to run a small dog grooming business from my garage. So that is my husband, David, and he's here with me today to support me and may help answer some questions if needed. I've been a dog groomer for more than 5 years. I love working with animals and giving them a calm and personal care. In the past, I worked in a busy salons with a lot of noise and pressure. It was hard for me and for the dogs that I groom. So this is why I want to work from my home in a quiet and peaceful space. And I understand that you have concerns about traffic. So I like to explain how I will keep it simple and quiet. I will only see 3 dogs a day, 5 days a week by appointment. Each appointment is spaced 1 hour apart, so only one customer is going to be there at a time. And when the groom is done, I call the owner for pick it up, so no one has to wait or overlap. All the clients will park in my driveway. It fits 4 cars, and we have only 1 car, so no street parking will be needed. The grooming area is a clean and quiet space inside our garage. It's separate from the house and has its own air conditioner to keep the dogs comfortable. I've also talked to our neighbors, and they have no concerns, and some have signed a consent form to show support. In addition, I want to use this business to help the community. I've already spoken with 2 local rescues, and they are very interested in working with me. I plan and offer a 50% discount on grooming for rescue dogs to help them look their best and get adopted faster. Thank you again for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments you'd like to make? You still have additional time?
Just that since I moved to USA, I'm from Brazil, I've been working with dogs, I've been rescuing, fostering, and start like bathing and grooming, and so dogs and grooming and rescue is my passion, so this is what I love to do, and I just like to work from home and take good care of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And there's no opposition, correct, for this? Okay. I will turn it over to Commissioner Bellon. Did I say that correctly?
It's close enough. I'll answer to that. Been called a lot worse often.
Well, thank you. To lead the discussion, you may just want to stay up there for just a minute.
Thank
We'll give
you.
you direction.
Let me start. Mr. Peterson, tell me what staff's thoughts were on this and concerns, so we can be sure to address those concerns.
The staff's recommendation was for denial on this based on the number of customers and the number of days per week that customers are going to be coming to this house. I would like to thank the applicant. I think she did a really good presentation. It's probably one of the better ones we've seen for dog grooming over the years.
Okay. So I don't recall that many dog grooming applications over the years, so can you kind of help me? You've been around here a lot longer. Can you help me understand what we have allowed in that regard?
Yeah, the last we heard in West Cobb was further west than this. This is near the interstate. And that one, actually, I think that one had one complainant on it. And they may have been doing that, without any kind of approvals. I know this one is different because it's not the result of a code enforcement complaint, which is how we get a lot of our lanes permits. So, that other one was complained and was denied by the board.
Okay. So you can only recall one that was denied by the board ultimately?
Well, the one most recently, yes. I think there was one out off Cedar Crest Road probably 4 or 5 years ago that was also denied. And that one was also a complaint. And I believe that one, as I recall, had, one of the dogs got out and chased one of the neighbors, I think.
Okay. We have allowed some business uses in homes where there were going to be some deliveries and some customer visits. For example, it seems like we allowed like a bridal shop at one point. And
Yes, we have a bridal shop. There's a guy out in West Cobb that's done art sales for 30 years. I think there's a couple of people who do photography. There's a person who does candles, person who does language.
so I'm
Speech
just making sure we treat everybody fairly and evenly in this regard. So can we just kind of go over some of those and what we authorized there? Or do you think that's something we need to maybe allow you to report on at a work session?
Well, I think for all these that have been successful, one of the keys is, all customers by appointment only, and they all park in a driveway, and there are no employees.
But she was willing to stipulate to that and keep people an hour apart so there wouldn't be too much traffic, so. Okay. Anything else we need to consider at this time? Okay. Did you look into the possibility of doing more, staying in some sort of commercial facility or renting some space somewhere? Is that something you gave any consideration to?
Yes, but if I try to rent, it's really expensive. So I'll be maybe working more than half of the month just to pay the rent. And also, I prefer just work by myself because then I will need maybe hire more people, and I just like to work by myself.
Did you look into the possibility of getting a truck and becoming portable yourself and going around and doing this?
The thing is, I don't like to drive. So the traffic's terrible. I'll be losing a lot of time in the traffic. Also, inside of the van is really humid. I don't think it's like good for the dogs at all. I like them to feel calm and happy, so when they come, they are happy, they can walk around, I don't like to stress them much. So I thought about it, but my first option is try to work from home. But, I never know if maybe I need one day I can do it, but for now, I want to try the first option.
And would there be any dogs doing any overnight stays at all as part of this grooming business? So no kenneling, no overnight stays. Do you have a dog yourself?
I have 3 dogs, 2 foster fails, and I have 2 pit bull mix and a Bernese mountain dog. But no No daycare, no overnight, just my dogs.
Okay. You can have a seat unless anybody else has questions for the applicant. All right.
Thank you.
Just, I had one question for, one more question for you, Mrs. Ayayama. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name.
It's okay.
I apologize. But are you going to be the sole employee, the only employee working
Yes.
here? Okay,
I'm the only one.
okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my motion is going to be that we hold this for 1 month. I just want to make sure that we take a look at some of these other applications we've approved for businesses in the home and just make sure we're being consistent. But my inclination is, should we recommend approval, there'll be a lot of the restrictions that were offered and discussed today as conditions, and that we would do it for a very short time. But I'd be more comfortable if we held this for 1 month. So that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Dance. Any discussion? Let's call the questions. Okay, and it's approved 5-0 to hold LUP 25 for 1 month.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is LEP 27, Hung Nguyen. Request a temporary land use permit to allow more unrelated people than the code allows in land lot 139 of the 16th district. The property is located on the west side of Timrose Road, south of Fay Drive. Is the applicant present? Yes. Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to LEP 27? Let the record show there's no one opposed.
All right, welcome. You have 10 minutes. Could you please state your name for the record, please?
Yes, morning everyone. I'm Hung Nguyen, 53 years old. I am a resident Georgia since 2022. I came from Vietnam, and maybe some law I didn't know yet, well yet. So, and also my English is the second language. So, just in case my daughter will interpret for me, please accept it. Yes, thank you. I have a house in 4501 Timrose Road. Now, currently, my son and my daughter-in-law living there, and I want to rent out a room, the other room inside the house, so that can comply with the Georgia law. Yeah, that's my intent to apply the application for rent out the room. Yeah.
Okay, any additional comments you'd like to make?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is in District 3, so I'll ask Commissioner Dance to lead the discussion with that.
If you could just stay there, I'm going to ask Mr. Peterson some questions first, though. This is an application for, could you clarify, Johnny?
Yes, under the current code for a single-family dwelling unit, a family is allowed to have one unrelated adult living with them. So what this application is his son and his wife
Yes.
are going to be living in the house, and it sounds like they want to rent out a room for two unrelated people to live in that one room.
Yep.
Correct? Okay. So they're allowed to have one, but to get the additional one, they need this land use permit approved by the Board of Commissioners. So it's for one additional person. And the house is big enough by code to allow 4 adults in the home.
Okay. You have something else?
No, that was it.
Okay, or do you have potential tenants? Is that what you have?
My son friend, because he just graduated from Kennesaw State University. My son too. Now my son is this year is the senior year, and he will graduate in this December. And my son friend intend to rent this room.
Is that a couple or
Just one.
just one person?
And his friend too.
So,
Yeah, help us out.
so my brother is like, he went to Kennesaw University and he has two friends who want to rent out after hearing about the opportunity in the house that they're able to rent it out. So we're planning to like apply for this permit so that both of his friends who are like, do you know their like class, like freshman or junior?
Senior.
Two seniors who are like looking to further their education, and since like the house is really near to Kennesaw University, they said that we would like to rent it out. So we have two potential tenants from my brother's school. Yeah.
Who have 1 year of college left? Is that what we have?
He's gonna graduate in December, so he's just wrapping up with the internship. So that's why he's not here right now. But yeah.
Both of them, or that's your brother?
Like the two potential tenants, or my brother?
Your brother's wrapping up in December, but how about the two potential tenants?
I think they're entering their senior year.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have questions?
So how many people live in the house total now? 1, 2, so both of you, and then your brother?
No, we don't live there. We live in our separate homes.
You live, okay, got it,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I didn't know if you lived there or not, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, great, that was my main question, thank you.
Any additional questions from the commissioners? No questions? Okay.
I have another question. So it's your home, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have would you have a lease agreement with these individuals?
It's like a renter agreement. It's like when, like you. Best way to say it.
Skim, can you repeat again? I didn't.
Like a lease agreement. It's like.
Like a contract with these individuals for renting the property? A
Yes.
rental agreement? Would you have a
we do.
rental
Yes, we
agreement?
do.
with them?
Yes.
We make them sign. It's like when they first like enter in the house to check out the house, we give them like the document and stuff like that. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
Okay, and your son currently just lives there, not under a rental agreement? Is that right?
Yeah, because my brother owns the house.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so your brother's the owner. and-
No, I think it's like
I-
like co-op.
You're the owner.
I am on.
Yeah.
Okay, and your son co-owns with you, or?
No.
Okay.
My son live with his wife in that
Okay.
house.
In your house?
In
with
that
your-
house,
in
not
the
in my house.
non-rental?
Separate room, another house.
Okay, does your son live in this house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
With his wife?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And they just live there with your permission, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not necessarily a lease, but you would sign a lease with any individual who were going to come into that
Yeah.
residence?
Yeah. Because
Yes,
And
ma'am.
right now, you have in mind two particular individuals,
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
okay, who are university students?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to identify those individuals?
So,
Like give me like give them like the name, their age, just like their ID.
ID? Yes. Right now or later?
Do you have it present with you and here to give?
Well,
it to
you, go ahead. Go.
No.
Y'all have a discussion.
I don't get your question, ma'am.
Do you have their names now, or do you need to find them?
I have a name already. One name is Abidas. Is my son friend.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and he's the friend of the friend. I don't know yet.
Okay, and those two people are not related?
Not related. Yes. ma'am.
Okay, and they're not related to each other, and they're not related to you?
Not related to me.
Okay. Okay, anybody else have questions?
I do. Can you tell me how long this lease term is intended to be or anticipated? How long do you plan to lease to the college students?
Normally, they want to rent in August to July. It's 1 year almost.
1 year.
Yes.
And do you plan to continue leasing this place to more than your son and his wife?
I think yes, because my daughter-in-law not yet have intent to have a baby yet.
Understood. Thank you.
So I think what you're saying, just to make sure I understand, is that this could be a long-term situation where even though after they move out, you potentially could see renting that room again in the future. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say that with respect to these particular applicants, and we need to know the names of those two applicants, I am making a recommendation that we approve a 12-month approval of your application, specific to the two people that you're speaking about, with the proviso that you would need to provide to code enforcement the names of those individuals.
Đúng rồi, cần phải có tên. Nên là bố cũng phải gửi tới cái board of like enforcement. It's like, how do we get in contact with them? It's like for him, like so he can send the names.
Hey, yeah,
Okay, can I get,
and I'll take their names.
okay. All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it for purposes of discussion.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Blown, and any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like John to comment on, my understanding is the policy was to minimize the probability of, the policy is due in large part to concerns caused by having multiple college students living in houses. Is that your understanding that
Yes.
that is part of the concern that was addressed by the commission? So kind of looking for where do we, is there a place to draw the line here where this creates a viable exception is what I'm asking about.
The process for a temporary land use permit, it also includes a provision that allows the county to have a show cause hearing if they're in violation of any of the stipulations that the board puts in place. So say these students, have a lot of parties, there's cars parking everywhere, there's trash everywhere, then we could take them back to the board in a show cause hearing and have the temporary land use permit taken away. So there is a process to remove it once it's in place.
My other question to you was just simply due to the fact that what I heard was in one instance that one of these prospective tenants would only be here till December. So I'm not sure the.
I think that
What I heard was that was the current son. His son is due to graduate in December, so
Yeah,
he
he's
would
still
be,
gonna stay in the house.
he would stay later.
But the two that are leasing, they would be
They're
there for
longer.
from August until the end of the school year in May or June. So this 12-month time frame that we're discussing would encompass their time to be throughout their senior year and then to graduate, so to speak.
And the house does accommodate for 4, correct?
I believe so. John,
Yes.
is that correct?
Okay.
If I'm correct, it's also is it at a dead end of the street?
What?
Does the street terminate right after the house? Do I remember that correctly?
I don't quite understand.
So if you look at the picture, the Timrose Road ends at your house, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
And,
so-
the dead end road, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so your impact upon trafficking is different?
It the end of the road, so I think it's not impact to the other house, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
observation. But do you understand what was just said, that if there's any disruptive activity, then it can be reviewed and revoked? So those would be terms that you would want to include in your contract or lease agreement with your tenants.
Nếu mà cái renter là cause disruption, then you have to take away the like. Yeah. Are you fine with that?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
He's fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion from our commissioners?
If
John,
the
did you have a
applicant-
comment?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but if the applicant is okay with 12 months, can we check with them if it's okay to put this on the consent agenda?
Yes.
And, you know, it's subject to Cobb DOT comments, which states no parking in the right of way.
Yes.
So if you're okay with 12 months for the approval, then we could put you on a consent agenda for the next hearing, and you won't have to make a presentation. It's just approved for 12 months. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
All right, I think we're,
And did he also understand the part about
Yeah, he did.
no parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, no
In the
parking
right of way.
On the right way,
No,
yes.
Right. Okay.
yes, Commissioner Anderson?
Just one kind of question for discussion when the commissioner's here, just, and I want to just make sure, just to, for Commissioner Beloin's point, the, just wanting to not necessarily set a precedent, the, you know, I think in this case, because there's a related adult that is living in there and they comprise 50% of the household, then I think I get more comfortable than if it, so, personally, if we were to approve it, I would love to see or understand if there's been requirements where at least half the occupants have to be related, or if that is something that we've discussed in the past. It's not. Okay.
But, you know, the real way to look at this is they're 75% in compliance because they're allowed to have a family and one unrelated.
Yeah,
So this
okay,
is just
yes.
for one additional person out of 4.
Okay, right.
That's another way to look at it.
Yep, okay. So I guess then we would, the request, any motion would be to allow for one extra person above what is required?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think that capping that limitation, and that combined with the fact that it's 12 months, so if anything goes wrong, then obviously there are conditions where they can come back and this can be withdrawn.
Okay.
But as long as the applicant knows that, 12 months from now, you have to come back
Yeah.
and go through the whole process again, just to make sure everything's been running
Yes, clear.
smoothly. Okay,
I do understand.
okay. Great, thank you.
Okay, I think I've already had a motion and a second. Is that correct? We were in
I think so.
discussion?
Yeah, discussion.
We were in discussion, is that right?
Yes.
So let's call a question. All right.
Wait. They did? Okay.
Okay, then it passes 5-0 to move forward to approve LUP 27 for a 12-month period of time.
Yeah, so come back in 2 weeks for the final hearing, okay? Come back in 2 weeks.
The same place in
Yeah.
here, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And that completes your agenda, Madam Chair.
Thank you. One additional question. I know we talked about that being put on consent. Does a motion need to be made for that, or is that just? Okay, all right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our agenda. We do need to approve the minutes from our work session and from our last zoning hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to approve both those sets of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Massey. Any discussion? Called question? All right, and the minutes are approved 5-0. Okay, I think that adjourns our hearing. Have a great day. Thank you.